My name is Adam,
My name is Abaid.
and we're the co-founders of the Tajara Group.
So we help Muslim men who are not only working in 9 to 5s, but also in uni, break into high ticket sales and actually start making those 3, 5, 10, even 20K months. So you can get that time and financial freedom behind you.
And today it's going to be a super simple video. We're going to be answering honest questions that we get every single day.
Questions about high ticket sales, questions about our personal journeys, questions about the Tajara Group and how exactly we can help you.
So let's dive into this.
Babe, let's start off very simply. What actually is high ticket sales?
So high ticket sales is a way for someone like yourself, someone like myself, someone like Adam to sit at home, work from home, take 45-minute Zoom calls and earn anywhere from 3 to 10K a month.
But babe, how is high ticket sales different from drop shipping, crypto, trading, SMMA, all the other things people like to push online?
I mean, as good as some of them are, the reality is you do require a lot of capital up front, or a lot of risk at least, with a lot of uncertainty behind it. Now with high ticket sales, we're amplifying the skills that you already have, which is talking in a sales manner, and you're selling something that people are already ready to purchase. And the best case is you get a healthy commission for it. And to top it all off, you can get anywhere from 10 to 15% commission on deals that are worth 3, 5, even 10 grand.
But Adam, my question to you is, why would a company even pay someone 250, 500, 1,000 pound commission for just one Zoom call?
So the reason why these, companies can afford to pay closers 10 to 15% for deals that are, 5, 10K packages, because we're in the info product space. We're selling educational programs, courses, masterminds, and the fulfillment costs are really low. So they can just front 10 to 15% to really highly qualified, trained closers to be able to, secure the deals for themselves. And on top of that, in high ticket sales, there is no base salary. It's purely commission. So they can afford to, have these 10 to 15% commission because they're only paying you based on your success.
And so, babe, what kind of products or services are actually being sold, and who actually hires remote high ticket closers?
Well, essentially everyone's always hiring. If there's anything to be taught online, a package can be sold for it. Whether it's trading, whether it's fitness, whether it's coaching, whether it's getting into property. So I myself, I've closed for a trading education company, one of the biggest traders in the UK. And one of my closest friends, he closes for an investment banking. He can bring in anywhere from 10 to 15,000 pounds in commission in a single month, working maybe 3 hours a day.
But Adam, a lot of people think sales is, being manipulative, pushy. Is that actually true?
Absolutely not. The people that you are closing, the people that you are hopping on calls with, they've already been through webinars, masterminds. They already know who they're, about to dive into, whoever's program they're about to jump into. Now, they've already made a decision in their head. You as a sales closer, you're just giving them the means to be able to jump into the program, because there is no other way for them to join a program. They have to get on a call with you, make sure that your goals are aligned, make sure they understand what they're going to be exactly getting from the program, and all you're doing is a cash collecting and the onboarding. And not to mention, if sales was this whole pushing people to make a decision, people wouldn't be thanking us all the time for allowing them to get into the program. There's a reason why people all the time tell me and Abaid, thank you for allowing us to get into the program. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be able to, work with this mentor on a one-to-one basis, etc. At the end of the day, you're just helping them change their lives. And as a result of that, you're making money, they're making money, everyone's happy. It's a win-win.
But babe, I want to understand this. If someone has tried to make money online before and failed, right? Why is high ticket sales different?
So it's different in a lot of ways, right? I myself, I've tried reselling where the industry came and it's now gone. I've tried crypto where the money was very inconsistent and I couldn't rely on it to give my family that freedom. But think of it like this. In a day-to-day life, there is always something being bought and there is always something being sold. Sales is the kingpin of that industry. Now think of the greatest billionaires in the world. They all started in sales. Whether it's door-to-door, whether it's with cars, whether it's with properties, they all started with sales. Now we're just amplifying the skill you already have, which is talking. Make sense?
Adam, oftentimes I hear with sales you have to be loud, extroverted, naturally confident. What if someone is like me, I'm not that confident at speaking, can I actually still succeed in sales?
Well, look, take myself an example. Just before I was about to be placed on my first offer, I had so much doubt. I kept telling my mentor, is this even for me? Is this even going to work? Can I even speak for 30 to 40 minutes speaking to someone on a call? I just thought it wasn't going to be for me. And then after I actually jumped into my first offer and I started speaking to people and having these one-to-one calls for 40 minutes, I realized it isn't actually as scary as I thought it would be. You're just speaking to another human being at the end of the day. It's just you and that person. So not only did sales improve my speaking, my communicating skills, but it also, it removed that sort of doubt in my head, knowing that something might not be for me. All you have to do is just jump in, take action, see, and then 9 times out of 10, it's probably going to be for you.
So, babe, I've heard you were on track for a good law career, you graduated university. Why did you pivot from that into high ticket sales?
Well, it's actually quite funny because during my third year is when I first started making good money from high ticket sales. And I thought, I'm already making over £10,000 a month. Am I really going to graduate, drop down to £1,500 for the next 2 years in a law degree, which, look, it's not a bad job at all, but it's not the job I see myself giving my family that freedom, that time.
Before, you said you knew you'd make money eventually, but you didn't want to wait 10 years to start making 10k a month. Why was that? And what was the big turning point for you when you realized you could actually start making serious money in high ticket sales?
Well, I'd say the biggest thing is, look, law is a good job at the end of the day. I graduated from it for a reason, but the plan is you have to do your 2-year SQE, then there's at least 2 years qualification, and then it can take you anywhere from an additional 3 to 5 years before you start to see anywhere from £7,000 to £8,000, let alone 10. Now, with high ticket sales, I made 10k in my second month, and I wasn't ready to sacrifice making 120k a year to go down to making 25k a year.
Incredible. But what was the actual hardest part of balancing working in travel lodge, studying in university, learning high ticket sales, and staying consistent with everything else?
I'd say honestly, there's no hard part. When you're committed to something, it doesn't really matter. My closest friend, for example, right? I've been best friends with him since year 7. We grew up together, graduated from high school together, went sixth form, but he ended up graduating university a year earlier. Now, he went into his corporate job, doing very well, alhamdulillah, but I saw him leave that job 3 months in, and I'm thinking, what's going on? This is probably one of my smartest friends. And that's when he told me about high ticket sales and the journey that he took to get to where he is. Because if he can quit his job, making 3k a month at a very high, well-known company in central London, then I can definitely commit, given some time away from Travelodge, to make this work as well.
What was the moment your best friend introduced you to high ticket sales, and what clicked for you in your mind when you knew, okay, I can actually kill it with this?
I mean, I'll never forget the moment. It was 2 of my closest friends, Peter, who was the closer, and Mohammed. We were all sitting on my bed at about 1 a.m. and Peter told me, so I took this call today for 45 minutes and I made £480 in commission. And I said, back up, what are you talking about? And then he ran me through exactly that he made 8.7k in 22 days of work. And honestly, my mind was blown. And from that day onwards, I was addicted.
In your second month of high ticket sales, you made $10,000. What clicked for you mentally when you saw those numbers and knew you could absolutely kill it in this industry?
I mean, I'd say the biggest thing was knowing that I haven't even gotten started yet and I'm already making this much. So it's only up from here. Now, I wasn't excited to the point where I'm going and buying flashy things. I knew that I really need to put my head down, because if I can make 10k in my second month, then give me a year and I'll make $1 million.
Yeah, babe, how did high ticket sales change your day-to-day life? Not just the money, but the time, the freedom, and the confidence it actually provides you.
Well, let's look at it in comparison, right? At Travelodge, I was working 8-hour shifts, sometimes even 16-hour shifts, from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. with no actual breaks and not ever actually being able to see my family. I mean, my nieces and nephew would be asleep by the time I got home, let alone seeing them. Now, with high ticket sales, I'm in my room, I'll make £300 off one call, and before my next call, I have 2-hour gap, so I can go downstairs, spend time with my family, have dinner with my family, and not actually ever be disturbed.
Adam, you didn't grow up broke. You had a very clear path laid out for you. Why was that not enough for you? Why did you dive into high ticket sales to forge your own path?
So look, I could have taken the easy route. I could have just worked, under my grandfather, stayed in the family business, stayed, running cars and helping him out with, car rentals and car drop-offs. But that wasn't enough for me. I wanted to build something for myself. I wanted to, build my own path. I wanted to make a name for myself. I didn't want to just be known as, my granddad's little helper. So it got me thinking, what's something that I could jump into? Now look, high ticket sales wasn't the first thing I tried. I tried so many other things. I tried, trading, I tried crypto, I tried Amazon FBA, I tried dropshipping, e-commerce, you name it, I tried it. And I just never found success in anything I ever tried. It wasn't until I jumped into high ticket sales that, alhamdulillah, I saw a lot of success in a very short span, and I was like, you know what, let me just double down on high ticket sales. And ever since I jumped into high ticket sales, it's only been up from there.
And you've spoken about being unconfident, being an introvert, not really being that confident in your speech. How did high ticket sales force you to confront that and get better?
So, look, I was kind of left out with barely any options. I tried everything before high ticket sales. High ticket sales was probably the last thing I ever tried. And when I was, learning everything, learning with my one-to-one mentor who was teaching me high ticket sales, everything was all good. It was only just before I was about to be placed into my first big offer when that element of doubt started to kick in. And then it got me thinking, is this even for me? Can I even talk to someone for 40 minutes? And then it was only a matter of me just manning up, taking action, jumping into the offer, throwing myself into the deep end, having a sort of mentality, either this works or this doesn't, and then I just have to, rely on another man's success for me to become successful in life. And I wasn't okay with that. And I did what any young, ambitious entrepreneur would want to do, to see success in their life. And I just jumped in and took action, and alhamdulillah, it's only been up from there.
You tried multiple things before sales. Crypto, Forex. Why do you feel like those things didn't garner you success and high-ticket sales didn't?
So all these other industries, trading, e-commerce, whatever it may be, I just personally didn't see any success from any of them. And it's not a matter of I didn't put enough work in. It's just, unfortunately, it just doesn't work for some people. And I tried so hard, and I feel like I just kept hitting a brick wall. It wasn't until I hopped into high-ticket sales, an industry which requires zero upfront capital. You can get trained in 1 to 2 weeks, get placed on an offer after only 2 weeks of training, and start, making anywhere between £3,000 to £1,000 per deal that you close. And it's just a matter of closing deals with, already highly qualified hot leads that have been booked into your calendar. There's no cold calling, there's no outreach, to none of that. Everyone comes to you, you just facilitate, them taking action on their dream. And that's it.
Adam, to invest into your high-ticket sales education and get started, you borrowed over 5 figures from your mum. Why did you do this, and why did you believe so much into the vision and high-ticket sales?
Well, look, it's quite simple. It's literally impossible to not make money from sales. I mean, sales is a kingpin skill in life. Every business out there has buyers and sellers, and every business relies on sales and marketing. So let's give an example. If you wanted to go buy a house or a really expensive car, you're not just gonna buy it off of a website or AI trading bot. You want to inspect it. You want to go speak to someone in person, get some facts about it. And that's literally what high-ticket sales is. You're hopping on calls with highly qualified hot leads that all they just need is that last bit of information about what they're going to get out of the program, and then just handle the cash collection and the onboarding, and that's it. It's really simple.
Adam, you borrowed a 5-figure investment from your mum to get into high-ticket sales, but then in the space of 2 months you were able to pay that back and some. How did that moment feel, and what did that prove to you about high-ticket sales?
I mean, it felt amazing, but it was low-key expected, because the guy who I jumped in with, I knew he was already killing it. He was doing over, 6 figures a month from this whole info product space. So I knew I was destined for success. It was only a matter of just showing up, listening to everything that he told me to do, and just, being a man and taking action, essentially. And all I can say is I'm really grateful for, all the opportunities that came my way. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you come from, doesn't matter if you come from money, if you come from, like, a poor background. Just being able to do something for your mum, regardless if it's, materialistic stuff, it's always going to provide you with some sort of satisfaction deep down. It's always going to, just seeing your mum smile is always going to make you happy. And it's such a great blessing to be able to, just give back to my mum.
Adam, your babe, you are both closers making 10 to 15k in your own right every single month. Why did you even feel the need to build Tajara, and what's your mission statement?
Well, look, our mission statement is pretty simple. Principle, practice, placement. And we built Tajara to make life easier for all Muslim men around the world, whether you're at university, whether you're doing a 9 to 5, whether you've never had a job in your life, to actually break into high-ticket sales and accomplish the same level of things we've accomplished. So for me personally, I've been through a lot of jobs. I worked in Nando's at 16 years old. I worked at McDonald's. I've been a football coach, and I worked at Travelodge most recently. And I think combined, I probably made what I make now in about 2 months' time. So you told me, being able to do the things I can do now with the level of financial freedom. For example, I managed to go Umrah last month, which is why my hair is quite short as we speak. And it's those things that I want a chance for every Muslim man around the world to be able to experience. Not just men, but women as well.
Amazing. Adam, on a fundamental level, you guys are making a killing with high-ticket closing, anywhere from 10 to 15k every single month. Why did you even feel the need to build Tajara and start teaching Muslim men around the world how to get into high-ticket sales, and what's your mission statement?
Well, look, it's really simple. The reason why we built the Tajara group is because we know there's so many young entrepreneurs out there, young people that really want to make it out of their current circumstances. They really want to make some sort of, change for their life. They really want to be hitting, 10 to 15k a month, but they just don't have the mechanism to be able to do so. And not only young entrepreneurs, it could be, older, more mature work professionals, people that want to just escape their 9 to 5, people that want to be able to provide for their family on, a better scale. Now, that's obviously where we come in, because there isn't another industry out there that comes close to high-ticket sales. There isn't another industry or side hustle where it requires zero upfront cost. All it requires you to do so is to be able to, show up to your group training calls, consume all the knowledge, understand the sort of frame of how a sales call goes, and essentially just get placed on an offer and start killing it and start collecting cash. That's it. It's really simple. There isn't, so many different technical points. It isn't as technical as, something like trading, crypto, or having to understand all these different things. It's just a matter of, can you speak? Can you show up? Can you take a 45-minute call? and it's simply just processing a payment for them and getting them onboarded into the program and giving them access to all their modules and stuff. And then it's just a matter of handling the onboarding, and that's it.
Okay, so you babe, what are the main pillars you actually train people on inside Tajara?
Well, it's pretty simple. We have three main things we stand by: principle, practice, and placement. Principle, there needs to be a massive identity shift, that you need to have the conviction that this will work. And if you don't, then forget this, nothing will work in life for you, right? So that mentality shift and that mindset change will be the difference. Then practice, making sure your skills are up to the level that when you are on these calls, you know what you're talking about and you can make it as smooth as it can be. Because when you are on call with someone, it should feel like you're talking to your best friend. And then placement. Now placement is the fun bit where you actually are on an offer and you're making the 5, 10, and inshallah even the 15K a month.
Yeah, babe, what would you say are the three most important things to teach someone who's a beginner in sales?
That's a good question. I'd say the easiest thing is that there's 4 parts to a sales call, right? So there's the frame and authority, making sure you are seen as the expert in the field. There's the discovery. Now this is actually where the sales made. Nothing else really matters. And if you do a good job here, you've got them. Then there's a pitch deck and actual pitch where you tell them how your product can actually help them out. And then there's the close. And close, I mean, the best of closers don't have any objections, which is where we plan to make you.
So Adam, you guys speak about placement. How does that actually work? How do you actually place students?
So when it comes to placement, obviously number one, placement is probably the most key factor when it comes to high ticket sales, because it can either make you or break you. Now, when it comes to how we personally place our students into offers, it's very simple. So after going through our program, we help our students build out their personal profile, highlighting 2 key factors: their expertise and experience. Now, everyone coming in this program is going to have some sort of experience in another industry, another side hustle, whatever that be, trading, dropshipping, e-commerce. Now, these are all really key skills. It doesn't matter if you didn't see success from those industries, it's all transferable skills because you can confidently now speak about that program. So we make sure that for all our students, we vet our offer, make sure that the offer that we're about to get them placed on isn't no, OFM management type of offer, it isn't no gambling or anything haram. We make sure that the offer that they're getting into is something they can earn a halal income off of, and then the sky's the limit. It's now only down to you to just make as much money as you can.
Yeah, babe, what does success realistically look like for a student of Tajara in the first 90 to 120 days?
So we're a very realistic bunch, right? We're not here to tell you you're going to make £100,000 in the next 3 months, guaranteed. Because realistically, if you're making 7K a month, you're already in the top 1% of UK, right? So our goal is to, firstly, help you make more than you are currently. Simple. Secondly, get you placed in an offer where you have the potential to make that 100K one day, inshallah, and then start having that freedom to balance everything out.
So Adam, I've just booked in my clarity call with the Tajara group, and I just want to know, what should I actually do before the call to prepare and squeeze the most juice out of this call?
Well, look, it's very simple. All that we ask from you is that you watch all the free resources that we provide you with, and please take it seriously. Don't just be watching it while eating. Actually sit down, lock in, take some notes, try to understand and gain something from the videos, because we didn't make them for no reason. And number 2, make sure you come prepared to the call. Come investment ready. Don't waste your time, don't waste our time. Make sure that you understand that this is what's really going to change your life, and the only way you can actually see a change in your life is by taking action. And number 3, very simple. Make sure that you treat it seriously, because how serious you treat it is going to, show to us your level of commitment, and if we should even be placing you on an offer at a later date, because maybe it just might not be a good fit.
And your babe, what does this call actually entail? What are you guys trying to figure out?
Well, firstly, we're trying to figure out if you are a good fit in terms of, is this something that actually makes sense for you specifically? And if it does, then we'll run you through exactly what it looks like to be a part of the Tajara group, and then the success that can come from it.
Adam, I'm a bit confused though. Do I actually need sales experience to even get into high ticket sales or even have this call?
Well, look, take me and Abe for example. We had 0 sales experience beforehand. Now, everyone can talk. It's not like, you're born with sales experience. It's something that you can work on and can improve. It's just about taking action and, taking that first step.
So, babe, what is this masterclass actually about? What will I gain and learn from attending this?
First thing we'll do is go over what exactly is high ticket sales. Then me and Adam will go over both of our personal journeys, even our first ever commission months, right? Then we'll go over what it looks like to actually be in one of these Zoom calls with a prospect, the actual framework behind it, the discovery, the pitch, and the actual close. And towards the end, we'll talk about what it looks like to actually be onboarded with the Tajara group.
Okay, babe, who is this masterclass even for, and who shouldn't waste their time watching it?
Well, it's definitely for more people than it isn't. Now, if you're anyone who wants to make a change to their life. If you're a Muslim man, woman, I don't care. As long as you want to make a difference to your life, you want to get that financial as well as time freedom, then this is for you. And especially if you want to be able to make money online, sitting in the comfort of your home, then this is for you. Now, it's not for you if you're anyone who thinks this doesn't work or doesn't believe in making money online, because forget this, you need to change your mindset before you hop onto anything. And this definitely isn't for anyone who's not looking to change anything in their life and is happy to stay where they are.
Adam, if someone already has high ticket sales experience, will this masterclass still be useful?
Well, look, fundamentally, no one has complete information about anything. You know, there's always something you can learn, there's always something you can improve on. Well, if you already are a high ticket sales closer that's making, 2-3K a month and you're comfortable to stay in that position, then by all means, carry on doing what you're doing. But if you really want to see change, if you really want to be, hitting those 10 to 15K a month off of, sales calls, then that's where we come, We're here to be able to put you onto those offers that do those, 200-300K a month, where they have, closers hitting those 10-15K months.
Adam, your babe, how long does it actually take to land a sales role?
Well, for me, wallahi, after 2 to 4 weeks of jumping into high ticket sales, I already landed my first big offer.
For me, it took me slightly longer. I was around the 2-month mark before I landed an offer, not the greatest, and it took me about 4 to 5 months before I landed an actual good offer.
If someone says, I'm not too confident to sell, I'm an introvert, what do you say to that type of person?
Well, I'd say take Adam, for example. He was probably one of the shyest people I've met at the start, right? Couldn't speak to me for 10 minutes on a call, let alone someone else. And now here he is in front of everyone, being able to speak how he does.
Adam, there are some people who are on the fence if high ticket sales is even for them, if they even want to invest into themselves, if they want to dive into entrepreneurship. What do you say to this type of person?
Well, look, if you want me to be honest, if you can speak, if you have access to a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection and Zoom, then there's no reason why sales won't work out for you. Take me, for example. Take a Baylever, for example. The difference between us and, the other greater mass of the population out there is we just took action. We knew we could speak, we knew we had access to a laptop, we knew we had Zoom, and we just showed up and took action. And alhamdulillah, now we're here.